Here we are with another video. How y'all doing? It's Mr. UV, aka Mr. Ultraviolet, and it's another Wild West Heroes video. Today we're going to be talking about the Frontier Adventure. I'm going to run y'all through it. Everything's being reset after the 48-hour period. So I'm going to go from zone 1, first fight, all the way to zone 3. And depending on how hard the content is, I might just go ahead and show you what hell mode looks like. It's about 3 times as hard. We'll see how it goes. I know my team's way stronger, and I'll show you hell mode. We'll just do it just for showing. Alright, so I typically go through the hardest mission on this. That's usually how I do it. Down here you got the heroes. You can pick all your characters from. It shows at the bottom how many recovery mats you have. I have 0, and they do roll over from the last time that you fought. No, they roll over within the 48-hour period. But I had 2 left over and last period, and as you can see, I have 0. So they don't carry over from each 48 hours. They're only from zone 1 to zone 3 within that 48-hour period. And we're gonna go ahead and go up in this. They are before that we hit frontier skills. This is clear, it's empty. I have no skills right now because I'm just starting. Like I said, the skills and the health mats do not carry over from each 48-hour period. Every 48-hour period or reset, everything is reset and cleared. So I have no skills. I'm just starting. This is fight 1, zone 1. It just started 3 hours ago. I'm about to hop right up in this and show you guys how it go. So typically, I take me personally, I take the hardest route because I know I can clear this content without any problem. But if I were to go in with wisdom and the smartest way to do, you click the characters, you see who they have, you already know the team you're using, you see who they have, you see how hard they are. As you can see now, this is me my 3rd time going ahead and starting the Frontier Adventure. So they're already starting off at 2 purple stars. They already got stars on them. When you start for your first time or second time, or even you might have done it more times than me, depending on how far in content you are, your first beginning fights, or all the fights rather, will look different who you're matched up against. I remember the first time I did, I was fighting characters and teams that were a lot easier than this. But like I said, because it's my 3rd time clearing it, I'm fighting a little harder people on my first battle, and I'm guessing it's going to progress, and the difficulty as well, excuse me, will progress as well. And right here, as you can see, it's telling you how many of these Frontier Adventure badges you're getting. You're getting 65 per fight. You always get a health mat per fight, so you're getting 1, and of course some cash. Now you can look at the other team and see what that team looks like. It's typically a little weaker, probably about like 20k weaker. To me, it's really still not going to make a difference. As you can see, the difference between the rewards is this one's giving me 27 cash for the harder one, the blue tint. The green tint's giving me only 23. So for what did I say? Let's go for the exact number. The exact number is 20k, a 20k punch up compared. So for that 20 extra k battle power that I'm going up against, I'm gaining pretty much an 100% uh increase in cash. You're still always going to get a health mat per fight regardless of what difficulty, and you're always going to get 65 or more frontier credit, or frontier adventure badge, let's call it what it is, per match. So of course we're going to take the harder route. Let's go for the more cash. Like I said, it's easier for me to beat it anyways. um I'll show you what it is. I'm not going to skip any battles, just to show you. I will put it on times 2 though, just for the sake of time. And we're just going to go through this and go ahead and just clean these guys out. As you can see, my Sunset Walker is just cleaning these guys up, clapping them. And this is 80%. If you check my other video, and I will do a tier list video, But as you can see, her passive, her last passive, allowing her to use her grit or special every time a teammate uses their special, she's gonna use a special. So that makes it easy. And then with my other legendary using almost an AoE attack, it just cleans up the content or competition. Now this is the part. After every fight, you get to pick a card that's random to take into the next battle and all the battles from this point forward with you. Now you got attacks have a chance to decrease target attacks. That's not too bad. So that, and it has all under it. If you look and see, it says all. I don't want to click it to point. You're gonna have to read it for yourself. If I click it, it's gonna confirm that card. So yeah, the first one it's saying all, so that means all my attacks for every character has a chance of decreasing target attack. Now, I don't typically don't go for ones that just say chance without stating what chance, because for all I know, it could be 2% chance, it could be 3% chance, or it could be 80. But I'd rather go for something that's more definite, that's always going to hit or always proc, rather than leaving it to chance. That's just me personally. And I always typically like to go for things that affect all, meaning all my characters. Now, the next one, ambush, is 10 seconds. Now, you got to be careful with these. It says ambush to throw you off, because even though it says all, it doesn't apply for you. It applies for the enemy. That's why it says that. So you got to read them. But typically, from my experience, every time you usually an ambush card, it's always for the enemy, not for you. That's why it's called hence ambush, just to throw you off, I believe. But it reads, for 10 seconds at the beginning of the battle, increase attack to all enemy heroes by 20%. Huh. Or maybe I've been reading that wrong this whole time. Maybe it does apply for you against the enemy. I'm pretty no. I know for a fact some of the ones that say ambush does go on buff the enemy though. This one, I'm not sure. It might be me just reading too much into it, but we're gonna move on for the sake of the video. I'm just gonna you know what? Let's just get it. Let's see what it'll do. It shouldn't affect me too much. I'm not gonna check all of them. I'm just gonna go for the strongest opponent. Go in there, beat them up. I will show the match so you can see how my team acts, functions, or what have you. I'm not gonna skip it. I will show each match, but we're gonna go ahead and my team pretty much is Sunset Stalker or Walker. I think her name is. She's a legendary, 3 purple stars, level 180. I also have Pathfinder. Same, she's 3 purple stars, level 180. I believe his name is Desperados something measures maybe. He's a tank. He's a clover tank. Pathfinder, she's also a clover. She's a damage dealer, DPS. Um, Sunset Walker, she's a smooth talker, aka Diamonds, and she's a legendary. She's 3 purple stars. I also have, I think her name is Darling Dove. She's a support slash damage dealer. She's a support because every time that she crits, she heals your teammate with the lowest health for a certain amount of percentage of your her attack. But she also was a damage dealer because of how much damage output she can also put in, because her heals are based off how much damage she applies. So she kind of, has dual utility. And then you have Preacher, and Darling Dove is a Green Thumb, a Clover. And then next I have Preacher, which is one of my favorite characters in the game, Low P OP. He's a support character. He applies a shield every 8 seconds to every team member on your team. And it absorbs a certain amount of percentage. I think at where I'm at right now, it's 146% of his attack. And he also applies defense up every 6 seconds. It's every 9 seconds he applies defense up on the weakest or lowest health. It's not weakest, but lowest health ally. And his passive, um, it applies dizzy. to any enemy that he attacks for 3 seconds with a 24% chance on that. So every time he attacks, he has a 24% chance to put a dizzy on the enemy. And what dizzy does, it stops the enemy from being able to use specials. So that's my team. And usually I'll either change out Desperado if his name is that, my tank, my Clover tank. I change him out for Maverick, which is the Diamond tank. His ability is his special, his grit. He hits the lowest health enemy with, I can't remember the percentage. It might be like 112 something. It's kind of low. 124. It's kind of low. Amount of his attack, and it burns them. And it burns them for, I want to say 5 to 6 seconds for 24% of his attack. And then his first passive is the first time in a battle that he drops under 60% health, he applies Dizzy to the whole enemy team, which stops them from you. I don't think his is Dizzy. I think it might. I think it's just stuns. It stops them from doing all attacks. Like can't even do normals or specials for like 5 seconds. And forgive me, I'm going all off the top of the head. I can't, pull up their stats by clicking them, but I'm telling you exactly what they are. The seconds might be off, but all that really matters is what it does. So take it with a grain of salt on how long the duration of the attacks last or stuns last. But they do exactly what I'm saying. And his last passive, when his last passive is every time he takes damage from an enemy, that enemy has his attack lowered by, I think it's 24%. So every time he gets hit, he's lowering whoever's hitting him attack, which is pretty much going to be everybody on the team because they're going to hit him with normal attacks because he's a tank and he's on the front line. So yeah, pretty good and pretty decent characters. I usually typically only change out those two, my tanks, depending on how hard the content is. Like if I lose, I typically run the Clover guy, Desperado, with the shield that he has on himself, that he reflects back towards the enemy every time he gets hit. I typically use him, and then his passive, that's his grit. He does damage, and then he applies a shield on himself that absorbs. He gains defense, and he reflects damage back to the enemy that hits him. And his other one passive is um can't remember it offhand. I think he just raises his damage reduction. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure how it's worded, but that's what it does. But typically, I usually just alternate my tanks depending on how hard the content is. I typically go with the Green Thumb, the Clover guy, Desperado, and if I get stuck, I'll even throw in Maverick just because I know if he's about to die, he'll stun everybody and then he'll lower their attack. And if the content's hard and I'm bringing Maverick in, I know he's gonna die or hit 60% under his health. So that's how I usually go about it. That's the strategy I use. And we're just going to get back into this. Sorry for all that rant. I just wanted you to know how the team was actually, functioning. Even though you're watching the gameplay, at least you'll know exactly why they're doing what they're doing, knowing their kit. And we're just gonna go ahead and do this. Pretty much this is pretty much how it always is for me. It's pretty much easy content. Most of the teams that you could see are typically like so far they're under 200K, and my team is 500K. It's like 5.500K. So like I said, I'm overpowered for this. So far, we'll see how it's gonna look when I hit zone 2 to depict on and guesstimate how hard zone 3 hell mode would be. But I'll probably be able to get through that content without heals. But if I can't do it without heals, I'll drop 50 credits, crystals or diamonds or what have you, just to, bring a person back to life and clear the content. Now the next card that I get to pick, attack has a chance to decrease defense. Okay, so I'll decrease defense, higher attack. The higher the target's current health, the more damage they take. That's good for if you're punching up. All heroes gain 50% attack. I'm gonna go with the attack for all my heroes. The defense one would have been good. All of those were pretty good. But at the beginning, I want to go ahead and try to get as many attack buffs as possible and defense buffs, and then we'll start worrying about, like debuffs later on once we unstacked up enough cards. Because if you go all one way, like early getting debuffs and, excuse me, random stat type cards, you're not going to have enough buffs from when you get to hell mode or if the content's too hard for you. And like I said, I typically want to get stuff that affects all the characters on my team. Sometimes you might hit a point where none of the cards affect everybody on the team, but you might be able to get one where it's like affects a certain faction, all that faction, every member from that faction, like all diamonds or all spades. And that kind of works for my team because it's basically half and half. Three of them are either going to be diamonds, or three of them is either going to be clovers, and then the other two will be vice versa. Because I'm pretty much only using clovers and diamonds on this team, and like I said, I typically switch out the tanks, and whichever tank I have in will make that same faction three. So all heroes gain crit bonus 24%. Lower heroes health. I'm not going to read all these out loud just for the sake of the video, the time. I'm just going to go ahead and run through, click which one I think is better. Yeah, we're going to go with the crit bonus because I want to hit hard. Now, if you see what path you take, it's going to allow you to take the two paths that's closer to the end that you take. If you take the middle, you're going to be able to take, obviously, the middle, both paths in this instant. If I take the one farthest to the left, I'm going to have to take the two next to the left. If I take the one closest to the right, I'm going to take the two closest to that right. But in this case, there's a middle ground where there's only two, so I'm always going to be able to pick both of them. But in my instance, for this point right here, I'm gonna go ahead and take the one closest to the left because the barrels give you heals. That's what those do. It's you sacrifice gaining a card for a battle, right? Instead of you doing a fight where you can win and get another boost or buff card, you don't get a card because you're not fighting, but you're able to heal your heroes without using any med packs. I don't have, matter of fact, I'm gonna take this side because I don't have to worry about any heals. Okay, they're not giving me a choice because based off my last battle, I have to take the one closest to the left. Well, it works in my favor. It really doesn't matter. I don't need the heals, but we're out. Oh, looks like Preacher is kind of low, but that really doesn't matter because this team is self-sufficient. Um, Preacher's gonna heal himself and other members, plus he's gonna put down the shield, and when he puts the shield down, based off how much damage he does, he's gonna get his health back. And then Darling Love is gonna heal the team based off every time she crits. So that's why this team is a good team. If you can get these characters, get them. But I mean, your team still won't function as well as mine because every team's different based off the gear you have and how many purple stars I have on characters. But the way that their kits function together cohesively, this team is a great team that has defense, damage reduction, self-sustaining health regens, and damage output. It also has a chance at debuffs um, and stuns. Not only that, it does do dot damage as well. So pretty much it does almost everything in the game. Okay, I'm going with the damage reduction. And yeah, I'll take that heal just because I don't have a choice. I have to take that route. Boom. Doesn't matter. Really don't care who I fight. Pretty much Anybody I go up against, I know for a fact I'm gonna smash. But sometimes you're gonna want to check it out because you don't want to go up against a person. Dang, that was a quick match. It was because I had the advantage over their archetype or their faction. It was a lot of hearts, and my damage dealers has the advantage over them. But that's what that leads into what I was about to say. Sometimes you might want to look at who you're fighting because you don't want to go up against a full 5 stack that's getting 25% attack and 25% health. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go against a team that's getting those bonuses and they're your weakness. They have an advantage over the majority of the characters on your team. So you might want to check it out and see what's going on before you jump in a fight. Me personally, I don't care, and that's only because the team that I have comprised, I know that they can sustain through most content and anybody I'm fighting based off how their kits work cohesively, and because I know that I'm punching down pretty much on every fight more than half. I'm pretty much double every opponent's power. You know, I think they're just starting to hit 200K. Mind you, I'm at 5.500K. So half a million. All right, like right here, you can see Duelist Eye. That's going to give me stats and bonuses only towards duelists. I don't have duelists. And the one on the left is for, peacemakers or hearts. I don't have them. So I have no choice but to go for the middle one, which is the higher the target's health, the more damage they'll take. This is up to 24%. That's no problem. I probably would have chose that anyways. Now, you're probably saying, why would you rather go for fights over barrels? Isn't it better always to heal and go through less fights? Yes, that is smart, but you got to remember this is also based upon how many fights. It's a point system. So the more fights you fight, the more points you get, which allows you to get more, frontier credits to buy stuff out the shop. So the more fights you get, the more currency you're going to get for your rewards to buy stuff in the shop. So keep that in mind. You're not gonna want to skip every fight because it's gonna get you less rewards for you to buy stuff out the shop. But do be mindful that it does take a couple of completions before you can even buy anything out the shop. You already know, like most everything in the shop, it's gonna cost a lot of currency or rewards before you can even buy anything. And as you can see, we're just running through the content. This is good because I can stack up on heals and don't have to buy anything. Now, you see this one that says short range heroes. I'm not going to say that I fully understand who's short range and who's long range. I think that the range is based off what type of gun they have. I believe revolvers are short range, mid range is probably shotguns, and then you have um uh long range will be the hunting rifles or the rifles in general. And the only reason why I would say, revolvers or pistols or close range rather than shotguns is only because of the picture that they have in the front. Other than that, I would probably think it would be opposite. I would think shotguns would be a closer range weapon compared to a pistol. At least in real life. Who knows the logic behind the way they designed this game? Because I really haven't seen anything in game that actually, specified the range of the weapons. Every now and then you will see attacks to say they're missed, even though opponents not lowering your accuracy. It happens, but I don't know for a fact why it happens. I just figured that's maybe a character might have dodge rating, a higher dodge rating, where they can dodge attacks and force me to miss. Okay, I'm gonna go with the heals. At the beginning of every match, I'm gonna heal. So yeah. That's what you typically want to go for. An event like this that's based upon how long you can last, you're gonna want to get stuff to help you sustain. Heals, damage reduction, increasing defense, lowering opponent's attack, things like that. It's always great to get more attack on your heroes, But if you can always make the enemy do less damage, typically that's better. All right, talking about me going to zone 2, that's what that was saying. And as you can see the jump, it went from 100, what was it, like 130,000 to now the first one being 300,000. So you can see the jump just from zone 1 to zone 2. So I can only imagine zone 3 is probably going to be around 500 or more. But the thing about this team, because the sustains is so good, I'll be able to punch up even probably 100k. And the committee uh event is committee something or clamati's one or something like that. One of those events, I punch up the, like the King of the Hill, the survival mode they have in the game. You just continue to fight character after character. In that, I punch up typically about close to within 50k to 100k I can punch up, and that pretty much depends on the characters I'm going up against. Like if they have more characters that have the advantage over mine, or if they have specific characters like two tanks, or Coffin Man's another character that does crazy damage because every time he kills someone he gets higher crit, and every time he doesn't kill someone he gets higher attack, and he gets a shield as well. And the most pesky character to go up against in this game, like I always keep saying, and I believe is top tier, at least probably like either top 5 or that 6th spot, is Preacher. Um, if you go up against a Preacher, it's going to be a hard battle unless you could snipe him kind of early before he gets too many shields up. Look at that, crazy, 2 hits. Um, But yeah, Preacher's kind of a hard character to get around because of the shields and the health that it applies, especially when you're going up against hard content in the game. Because I didn't read that because it said it capped out at 10%, and I already have one of them on my team, so I probably going to exceed the 10%. But it doesn't matter. One card, one mistake. You want to keep in mind you don't want to get too many cards that's duplicates, or cards that have a cap point, because if you get cards that saying, oh, caps out at 300% or something like that, or 20%, and you have like 2 of them or maybe even 3, and they're proccing every round type thing or multiple times in a fight, it's going to cap out. So pretty much you're just going to have cards that's not doing anything. So you want to kind of spread out the type of things that you're getting. Oh yeah, definitely get special. Stuff like that, as many times as you get special in a game, is always good. I would love to take out that 400k team. Now, as you can see, I'm not even looking at the rewards at this point. You can pause the video and see the rewards I'm getting. You shouldn't typically base what you would get based off of what I'm getting in this video, because it depends on how many times you have already completed the frontier. Is going to gauge how hard the content is. So my rewards will be a little different than yours. Most of them will be the same. 2 out of the 3 will be the same, but I think that the cash will probably be different. Don't quote me. I only can go off my account, and I never really paid too much attention to how much cash I was getting the first day I played it. I was just thinking about just getting to it. But I know the amount of credits, frontier credits that you get, the currency you get from this event, and the med kits are always going to be the same. It's always going to give you a 1-for-1 and for the med kits. Every fight, you're going to get 1 med kit. Guaranteed. And excuse me, you're always going to get 65 frontier credits or currency for this game, or you're always going to get that or more. It's never going to go under the 65. 65 is where it starts, at least from my experience. That's bottom. Okay. Now I want to get as many of these hell mode buffs as possible. But at the same time, I still want to, leave room for me to stack up a couple of buffs for, all modes. You know, the basic ones, which is basically zone 1 to 2, and it can be 3 if you decide not to take hell mode. All right. Excuse me. Plug this up real quick. Get this charger. And yeah, you're gonna wanna try to get defense on specials as well. And if you can get special regain, that's another thing that you want to probably aim for. Uh, as you can see, that the content's starting to get even higher. We're already at 500K, so they're roughly around the same amount of power as my team. But that's not a problem. Because you got to remember, theirs is spread out evenly. Mine's is more targeted towards the damage dealers. All right, gonna knock that out right there. It says at the beginning of the battle, inflict confuse on close range enemy heroes for 12 seconds. Lower the health 25%. I'm gonna go with the confuse. Any type of thing like that can stop them from attacking, once again saves me health. As you can see, the content, even though it's roughly around the same power level as mine, I'm still clearing it with such ease. Haven't have to use any heals yet because of how the team is comprised of self-sustaining characters. And as you can see, most of my characters, almost every attack is a crit. That's good because I heal off these crits. Alright, raise them up. That's pretty much the same passive as Maverick. What my character's health? Okay, we got full health still, so we don't need a heal. We're just gonna go ahead, go into this. Surprisingly, I haven't ran into too many disadvantages matches where there's full 5 stack getting 25% health and 25 attack. I'm gonna go with the crit rate. Because remember, one of my characters heal off the amount of times they crit. More crits, more heals. More heals, longer sustain. Longer sustain, more content I can complete. Reason why this content is kind of, really, it looks very trivial and easy for me is because my team is already roughly around the level of the content without the buffs, and they're giving me like 20 buffs probably. So that's why I'm just breezing through this so easily. Alright, now this is where it separates normal mode to hell mode. Hell mode being like a double increase. Normally let's say it will go up 100K. It might go up like 200K. We're gonna check it out regardless. Surprisingly, it only started. Okay, yeah. So it was started at 100K teams first match, then went to 300K. Now we're at 900K. So it doubled. Still gonna take the hardest route. Now I'm confident I still breeze right through all of this. You might be able to see one of the red tints, which is I consider exotic, the highest tier there is, because there's either starts at green, then there's blue, then there's purple, and then they have green, red. They have yellow as well. You might be able to see one of those red ones. Oh yeah, this is good. Increasing base stats. So if you increase the base stats, all buffs and percentages are based off the base stats. So the higher my base stats, the higher the percentages will calculate to be. So me getting that increased base stats is better than getting me something like an extra 10% attack. Because with higher base stats, a 10% will then turn into maybe 20% or higher. Yeah, this is one of those matches where I'm going against a team that has an advantage. But it's fine. Clean them up. As you can see, my tanking damage, they're just the ones that outlast everybody. Alright, I end up losing the character. And it was Preacher. He is my weakest character on this team. Even though you see the tank, the Clover, the guy right next to him on his left, is same level and same purple star level, he still is stronger than Preacher. And it's because he has more health, more defense, and surprisingly, I think he might even have more attack. Even though he only attack, I didn't even have to do that. I messed up. I didn't need to heal. Okay, we're still gonna go in here and clap these guys up. So far out of all this, and this is hell mode. I've only lost one character. Use one revive. That was 3. It takes 3 to revive one character, and it goes up 3 per character. And as you can see, Preacher died again. He was the first to die. That's because he's my weakest character. But it's okay. He did what he needed to do. He got off the shields before he died. Even though he also allows heals, I still had a healer. Past tense. She just died. Still not a problem. My damage deals are still at full health. Alright. I'll take that defense. Okay, I lost 2 characters. We're gonna heal them up too. And as you can see, I'm not using any crystals or diamonds. I'm not doing anything. I'm not using any external resources. I'm only using the resources that I gain for fighting each match. I have 19 med kits, as you can see up here. Reviving these characters is going to cost me 8. That's nothing. Not even half. We're going to go ahead and pop those. Now, this is one of the yellow tints. It's legendary right here. This is as hard as it's going to get. Probably should have brought in Maverick, but it'll be alright. Oh, all that. Crits. And that attack right there looked like an AoE. It is. Oh, my bad. It was AoE. That was our Pathfinder. Thought that was Dove Darling. But yeah, it was AoE. And every last hit crit. As you can see, pretty much every hit that I'm doing is critting. It's crit, crit, crit. I didn't get any cash for that match. That's odd. Now, after I didn't beat that 10, as you can see, that was a gold 10. So pretty much all these missions after this, it's going to be easier than what I just fought. And I beat that without losing a character. But as you can see, the reason why I typically lose characters is because I'm going up against a character or a team that has a lot of characters that have advantage over mine. So you might want to either write down, take notes on who beats who has the advantage over who, or just memorize it, and that just comes with time. I just keep losing Preacher, but it doesn't matter because these med kits don't carry over. They're not going to carry over in the next 44 hours, as you can see the timer. This ends. I won't be able to do this or won't be able to continue this after 44 hours. As you can see, I'm at zone 3. It ends at zone 3. This is the last one. It's nothing after zone 3. And this is hell mode. There's nothing after this. So me using all of these heals that I have stacked up, these last 6, that's not a problem. Because those heals aren't going to carry over to the next event after 48 hours. Or 44 for my reset. They're not going to carry over per reset. They stay the same. I mean, it doesn't stay the same. It doesn't carry over. It's going to always start at 0 everything. No buffs. You're going to start with 0 buffs, and you're going to start with 0 med kits. That's how it goes every reset. You have to build everything up. But throughout the whole, adventure, zone 1 to 3, everything carries over. All right. And really, me clicking all of this stuff right here, it doesn't really mean anything. I'll take that. Shields. It doesn't even matter. I only got 3 more matches. I probably won't even pop a heal, even though they're like half. Doesn't matter. They should get it from just healing. As you can see, look at those buffs. It put stuns. Stuns on all those people. And I think it was because it put stuns on back row characters, or either put, yeah, it was on back row. So I'm not back row, front row. Because everything's in reverse when you go horseback. Tanks or anybody that's on front lines go to the back, and the back goes to the front. Everything's in reverse. But it's always still going to be the same. They're still on the front because they're closest to us. But the way that it's perceived, it looks like it's in reverse. So it puts stunned on everyone on the front lines. And that match right there, they had 4 tanks. That's why that whole row of characters right there, those 4 characters all had Dizzy on them, but they couldn't do nothing. So that's what I'm saying. You gotta read these buffs and pick the best ones that's optimal for what you perceive that your experience might be going through 1 through 3 zones. Still not gonna heal. Just gonna go in, see what we can do. Once again, you see the little Dizzy over them, and I think that lasts 12 seconds. So pretty much none of these teams stand a chance because their tanks are not able to do the job that they need to do. Having Maverick is a little better because as soon as he hits under half health, as soon as he hits half health, he's gonna put like Dizzy or lock. He puts it's not Dizzy. It's considered lockdown. He puts a lockdown on all the enemy characters. So as soon as I put him under 50%, he's gonna lock down all my characters. So that's pretty much as best as you can do. All the other tanks really don't have anything to counter that Dizzy. Luckily, that's not a passive that a character has in the game. That's not part of anyone's kit. It's just one of these buff cards that's only in this mode. That would be very OP. And this is the last one. It's purple. It's the boss mode, and it's the last mission in this whole event. As you can see, I went through one through 3 zones easily, no time. I didn't see how long it took me in minutes, but it was fairly easy. Your experience might be a little different than mine, but if you follow the steps that I gave you in my last video, that was about character progression and development of teams and how you comprise them. It was kind of in-depth video. It was kind of long. It was an hour long. But if you check that out and listen to everything I'm telling you on how to build teams and save resources for your best characters, and how to get the most buffs you can get out the game with gear, horses, and assigned spots in your town, and the character formation that you have based off the factions, having either three of one faction and two of another, or four and then one of another, or even implementing jokers, or what they call in game ramblers or regulators, to get some extra stats, to maybe even get the 25 attack or 25 health, or 15% attack and 20%, excuse me, 20% attack, 15% health, and then 30% defense. If you follow the guide that I said in that video and get these buffs and all of these things that I just listed, the content should be pretty much easy for you. Granted, you get some decent characters from your pools, but from my experience in pulling, the way I've got so many different epics or 5-star purple characters, I have an abundance of them. I've got so many duplicates, which is why I'm able to um put so many dupes on my characters and stars. It's kind of ridiculous, but you know, this is the first time I had my whole team wiped on the last mission of Hell Mode. That's because the team that I'm going up against has a 20. What is it? 2 million. It's 2 million. Mine's is only 500,000, so 500,000. It's 4 times my power level. You know what I'm saying? I took pretty much everybody to half. The tanks at probably about 20% health. Alright, we're gonna go back in. This is the first time I actually went through something with a little bit of trouble. We're gonna see if we can heal. We have enough heals to do all this. Alright, to heal my whole team, it's gonna be 15 recoveries. I have 4. I need 9 more. It tosses 20 per one. And I just for a side note, I don't use diamonds for anything in the game other than stuff like this. Um, energy refills. I'm gonna say not energy refills, but like when you're going for interrogation, you use the 5 that they give you, and you maybe want to go back in and farm more from that mode. Not mode, but the interrogation. I might drop some crystals on that or diamonds on that, or I say I want to fish more so I can buy something in the fishing store. I might drop it. Pretty much I only use it for gaining more resources to only help me progress. I don't just use it to gain resources just so I can have this or have that, or I feel like I want that. If it's not going to help me progress in content, I'm not using any of these diamonds or crystals, whatever they're called. They call diamonds. Now this right here is going to help me in progression. All right, I stopped because I was talking. So I need 2 more. Yeah, this is right here obviously is going to help me in progression because it's a game mode that I have to clear, right? I don't have to, but I want to because I can, and because the rewards is good. What is this? I gotta click it. And just before we go ahead and beat this, these are all the buffs that I have. I'll move a little slow so you can see it. All the buffs we had this time. I'm pretty confident I'm gonna go ahead and beat it on this next fight. So I'll go ahead and show you the buffs that I had. Since you sat here and watched me do every mission. And all of these were on. Okay. Probably should use Maverick because I'm pretty sure he's going to drop under 50, but it's okay. Wow, he started under 15 and automatically just made his passive go off to lock down my characters. That's cheese. But it starts at, you only can use it once per match, and since this is technically another match, it allowed it to kick off again. Like I said, I knew it was going to be with ease, and that's completed. So I did have to drop a couple crystals to go ahead and, complete it. This buff really doesn't matter because this is the last one. But I mean, if you're saving your resources, that's not a problem. And of course, I'm gonna get those. What was that? 100 crystals back. Especially when you're not using any crystals for anything, you can easily stack up 150 or 200 crystals easily. And all that said was, well, I don't know if you read it, but it was just, little text talking about congratulations, you made it to the end. As you can see, that's the end of it. It only goes to zone 3. Look at the shop and see how many rewards I got. And like I said, like I told you, I still don't have enough to buy anything of worth. Pretty much I'm aiming to go for this legendary here, Coffin Man. And still gotta do this at least, what, 3 more times? Maybe 4. No more than 4. So I probably have to either have to gain the amount of rewards that I have 4 more times. Like I said, this is the 3rd time I did it, so rough math. It'll be about 12 more times if I complete this 12 more times. So do it every 48 hours, so that's every 2 days. 2 times 12 is 24. In 24 days, so in a month I should be able to get him if I'm getting the same amount of reward resources every completion. So yeah, that's Frontier Adventure. And thank you guys for tuning in and watching it. Look forward to other videos in the future.